again so everybody knows who we're talking about. And if you want to address the committee, either raise your hand or use the raise the hand or any kind of the chat. So I think we've got staff monitoring that, or of course, just speak up and we will certainly recognize you. We will begin this morning with roll call. So, Madeline, you want to do that?
All right. Regent Amar,
Present.
Regent Mendoza,
Present.
Regent Johnston,
Here.
Regent Benson, and presenters Jill Arnsdorf,
Present.
Missy Knox,
Present.
Jen Bonzraki,
Present.
Sam Christie Dangermond,
I'm here.
Rusty Monholland,
Rusty, I think you're muted. There you go.
Yes, thank you.
all right, and that concludes roll.
Thank you so much. Do we have any introductions this morning for our virtual meeting? All right, seeing none, I would entertain approval of the minutes from the January 14th, 2026 meeting.
So moved.
A second? Do we have-
Second.
All right, thank you. So moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passed. All right, we'll move on to the board consent items. And as I said, this means these items that we discuss will be moved to the full board's consent agenda. And so first up is, excuse me, Provost Ernsdorf with the request for a bachelor's in financial and fraud investigation. Jill?
Thank you, Regent Johnston. It sounds like maybe you're fighting something, a cold or something.
Yeah, it's not that bad. I feel like I'm the healthiest person I know, and it aggravates me. You know how aggravating it is to have something. But yeah,
I
compared to a
do.
lot of people, I'm very, very fortunate. I just have kind of a head thing going on. So, but
Well, I
thank you.
hope it passes quickly.
Me too.
Thank you for ceding the floor for a few minutes. I'm going to adjust my microphone here just a little bit. There we go. So page 6 of your agenda does contain the full proposal for the Bachelor of Science in Financial Forensics and Fraud Investigation from Fort Hays State University. This proposal did pass unanimously through COCO and COPS over the last few meetings. And so we are here today to present to the board Academic Affairs Standing Committee for hopeful approval to go into the board agenda. I've got a number of colleagues with me on the call today, and I wasn't sure exactly how you might like to facilitate this, Regent Johnston. I would call your attention to a couple things in the proposal, and then maybe I'll turn the floor over to our lead faculty member on the proposal to share a little bit more context and then open up for questions. This proposal, like our last that came through, was born out of two programs having a conversation and working on an interdisciplinary program that's coming before you now for consideration. So the beauty of this proposal, in addition to the type of student that's going to serve and produce for our region, is that we had two programs from two different colleges at Fort Hays State University working together to bring together an interdisciplinary program that takes existing faculty and existing courses, with the exception of two courses that will need to be developed. And I think that's our way forward at Fort Hays, and quite frankly, probably the way forward for many of us in the state to create new programs. And so our costs for this are extremely minimal in that we're using existing resources, and believe that this will be a way to better serve our students that are interested in these areas already. So at this point, I'd like to turn the floor over to Jessica Claiborne. Jessica is the lead faculty member in accounting that has been really working to bring the programs together. I also have, I'm seeing a few other folks, our chair of our economics, finance, and accounting program, our dean of our, I thought I saw our dean of our College of Business and Entrepreneurship, and then our dean of our College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Science on the call as well. So we've got a lot of people here. I'll start off with Jessica and let you just talk briefly about the program, Jessica, and then open it up for questions.
Great. Thank you, Jill. Like Jill said, I am Jessica Hieronymus Claiborne. I teach accounting at Fort Hays. Fraud investigation has been a passion of mine for a long time, and this is a program that I have been thinking about really since I started at Fort Hays in 2007. I'm delighted that it looks like it is finally coming to fruition. Fraud examination is something that is misunderstood by a lot of people. They confuse it with forensic accounting, where fraud investigation is much more multidisciplinary than that, and really touches a lot of different realms and disciplines. I am so excited about the program. I have had students asking me about it constantly, and am in the process of looking at all the different places that it connects across the university also. So I think it will be a really good thing, not just for Fort Hays, and our students, but for the state of Kansas. And I'm excited to hear any questions that you might have or to share some more about it.
Thank you.
Jessica. And I was remiss in not mentioning accounting and criminal justice are the two main programs that have come together to create this program proposal.
Very
So
nice.
Regent Johnston, do you have questions for us?
I would open it up to my fellow regents. Do we have any questions for Ms. Claiborne? And I think, Jessica, did we not visit when we were at Fort Hays? I recall visiting with you, so I hope you're doing well, and it's good to visit with you and see you again. So
Yes, we did. It is good to see you as well.
If I may, I have a couple of questions.
For sure. Regent Amar, go ahead.
And this can be to anyone who would like to field it. What I understand, is this going to strengthen other forensic programs that maybe you already have at the university?
I am not really sure. It strengthens other forensic programs that we have. I know we do have a criminalistics program through the Criminal Justice Department. We're really looking, I'm not sure how to describe this. It is not really related with that, other than there is the tie through criminal justice. So we're really looking at different areas where financial forensics touch, such as risk management, possibly terrorism financing, cybersecurity. There's all sorts of connections, human resources that have financial ties, and also need people skilled to investigate the fraud end of it. So I'm not sure I really answered that question, but yeah, I'm not aware of anything that it really specifically strengthens at Fort Hays. It just really opens up new opportunities to kind of put some things together.
Perhaps another way to ask it is is it increasing enrollment? Because my understanding was there was already something akin to this, and you're bringing these two colleges together now to have this degree.
Yeah, so I can handle that one. It does strengthen each of the home departments in that it is going to, so we have a criminal justice major.
Right.
We have a criminalistics major, and we're proposing this major now. All of them are very different, but some of them use similar courses. So it's going to strengthen each of the home departments that are involved in those, because we're going to have students from different disciplines taking those courses and working interdisciplinary across the university. This is not going to compete with the students in the criminalistics program or in the criminal justice program. This will be a different type of student that's interested in blending accounting and criminal justice. And so some of the courses are shared, which I think will strengthen each of those courses and those home departments.
Yeah, and if I might add, David Macy, the Dean of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences, which is where our criminal justice program is located. This also, gives each of the students in all of our criminal justice, fraud investigation, criminalistics programs the chance to interact, to work together, to take some classes in common, to network. And part of our commitment being here in Western Kansas is to prepare our students to work in a variety of law enforcement contexts and agencies across rural Western Kansas, where they're not going to be in large departments and programs. They're going to be in small programs. They may be the only person who's primarily dedicated to fraud investigation, or they may be in one of those other areas, but are going to need to have a larger network of folks in the area of fraud investigation to have the experience, the exposure, which bringing these programs together will grant them.
Thank you. Another question is, I noticed that you illustrated or mentioned some large metropolitan areas that this would, where students could find jobs, but I don't see any like smaller Western Kansas, that sort of thing. So that brings up question is, do you have any information on that, or you're aware that there is that need?
Yeah, certainly in our ongoing work with criminal justice, the program, which is one of the sponsors, we work very closely with agencies across Western and Northern Kansas. And, this is also something we're hearing from our law enforcement partners in Western Kansas. We're hearing from our prospective students, many of whom very much wish to remain here in our region, serving our Western Kansas communities. So, it's going to be a need for a person here, a person there, not a large, group in any one single agency. But yes, this is very much about service to our region.
Thank you. And final question is, I noticed that in the proposal you mentioned 6 other universities that had some, I don't know, maybe I should say program, certainly not a degree. So in your COCO and SOCO meetings, was any of that discussed, like collaboration, or would there be maybe a student from K-State that wants to go over and finish up at Fort Hays State and, receive that degree or something? I'm just kind of curious how that went, and since everybody was in favor, just if there would be a way to work together with any of your coursework and their coursework.
Sure. I mean, we're very open to working with our colleagues across the state. Admittedly, that conversation didn't happen in SCOCO and COCO. We didn't.
Okay.
No one had questions. We didn't receive
Okay.
any letters of concern, and the vote was unanimous. So I'd be lying if I said we've talked about it, and we're open to it always, to pathways for students as they transfer between and amongst the institutions.
Okay. Well, I just was curious because, at first blush, when you look at that, it's like, well, there's 6 other universities, and I'm just trying to kind of dive down into the details. So it's certainly not the same. And so I just wanted to make that distinction so we can move forward.
Yeah, most of, and I think you're referencing page 9 of the proposal.
Yes.
Most of them are, so not most, well, I think it is most of the others are offering graduate level courses in these areas. And so that would be a potential pathway for our students as undergraduates moving into those programs. The other thing I was going to offer is that this this will not cannibalize our accounting program either, because this is a very different type of student that's
Right.
interested in the blend of criminal justice and accounting. So
Sure.
if there's concern about that, I was remiss in not mentioning that before. Looks like my colleague Provost Bicklemeyer has her hand up.
I appreciate the question, Regent Amar, and I would just echo, while we haven't talked about it, we did share this proposal with our faculty in the School of Business. We do have forensic accounting, in the School of Business, but it is graduate level. And I think our faculty were appreciative that there's an undergrad program, where we can establish some pipelines possibly in the future. So I just wanted to go on record as saying that we don't oppose it and we appreciate the program.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other questions?
I don't have any questions, Regent Johnston.
Thank you, Regent Mendoza. Anybody else? I appreciate the discussion. I thank you, Regent Amar, for your
welcome.
questions. It's a good discussion, and I agree collaboration is always a great thing. And I'm glad to hear that we're not cannibalizing either the accounting or criminal justice majors, but this will be something that I think can kind of lift both of those and give them another pathway. So sounds good. I would therefore entertain a motion to approve the bachelor's in financial forensics and fraud investigation and move it to the full board consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. So
Thank
that
you.
is approved. Let's move on to
Thank you.
next. You're welcome. Thank you so much, all of you. It's good to see all of you, those that I can see across the top of my computer. So next, to speak with us about act on the apply free days for academic year 2027. So Misty and VP Bondracky or Director Bondracky. There's Misty. Who's
Thank
first?
you. Yeah, thank you, Chair Johnston. Thank you, Regents. I'll let Madeline queue up the slides for me. This proposal is located on page 23 of your board agenda materials. As a reminder, the full report on the Kansas Free Application Days data, including the yield, was provided to BASC in November. At that time, we encouraged CAOs to follow up with the academic affairs staff and the Apply Free Days Committee representatives if they had any additional feedback before coming before you today for the AY 2027 proposal dates. As a part of today's report, I will provide an overview of the public institutions application fees and then briefly highlight the fee waiver opportunities that are available and share a snapshot of the national fee waiver initiatives and then review some of that high level data that we heard in November. Next slide. The Kansas Free Application Days was modeled after Colorado's Free Application Days. We are now in our third year of the pilot. During this 3-day window, all public institutions in Kansas, along with participating private institutions, waive their undergraduate application fees. Next slide. Here's the current snapshot of the application fees across Kansas public institutions. At this time, we have 4 universities and 2 technical colleges that charge application fees. I do want to note that for transfer students specifically, there are actually only 3 public institutions who charge application fees. Those are Fort Hays, K-State, and WSU. Next slide. This slide highlights the year-round need-based application fee waiver option that's available to students in Kansas. So while the Apply Free Days provides a universal window each fall, students who demonstrate financial need can actually request an application fee waiver at any time throughout the year. Institutions vary in how they collect this information. For instance, Fort Hays State requires completion of the fee waiver form, while several other universities have the question embedded within their application for admission. As you can see there on your screen, the eligibility for the need-based fee waiver is tied to common indicators of economic hardship. Next slide. There's also several other opportunities available for application fee waiver outside of the universal need-based option. These waivers are often tied to campus visits, recruitment events, or specific student groups. For instance, Fort Hays provides waivers for students participating in outreach programs and concurrent enrollment waivers as well. And then K-State allows participants or applicants to note their fee concerns directly within the application and offers waivers for active duty military and veterans. KU grants waivers to first-year applicants upon request with no documentation required. And then Wichita State offers waivers to students attending select admissions events. So high schools are also able to advocate on behalf of the students to receive a waiver. And then out-of-state students receiving free or reduced lunch also qualify for application fee waivers. So as you can see on these two slides, there's multiple fee waiver opportunities, and the Apply Free Days represents significant institutional investment with thousands of dollars in application fees waived over time. Next slide. Here's a quick look at the national landscape. We saw this back in November, but just a reminder, 23 states offer some form of free application initiative. Next slide. And the map that we saw in November, again, just depicting the variation in fee waiver opportunities. Next slide. So for the KEDS AY collection, this data is tied to the Apply Free Days from the November 7th through the 9th, 2023 dates. So that's the yield data that we are seeing in the data before you today as well. Next slide. So within the KEDS AY collection for the 2023 free application days, here we see the dollar amounts institutions told us they waive for the Apply Free Days initiative specifically. So for state universities, Kansas families saved about $285,000 across our state, and technical colleges, Kansas families saved about $11,000 across our state. Next slide. Just a reminder of our yield data. This slide provides a summary of that yield data. Across the top columns, you can see the first column shows the yield for the applications submitted during the Apply Free Days. That second column shows the yield for applications submitted outside or excluding those free application days. And the final column to the far right reflects the overall yield for all application submissions. On the left side, you see each sector of the Kansas public institutions. On the very bottom, though, looking at the totals across the public institutions, the yield for applications submitted during the Apply Free Days is there at the 30.5%. The yield for applications submitted outside of the Apply Free Day window was 41.7%, with the overall yield combined, all applications was 40.8%. In summary, the total yield for the Apply Free Day applications is approximately 11 percentage points lower than the yield of applications submitted outside of that 3-day Apply Free Day window. Next slide. I thought it would be good to continue to include the ages and also underserved populations, as well as we look at the continuation of the Apply Free Days. So this data here is disaggregated by age at the time they submitted their application. So during the free application days, students under age 18 yielded at a 43.9%. Moving across the row there, you can see how this compares to students under 18 who applied outside of the 3-day window, and then the overall yield, which was 70.2%. Applications from students aged 18 to 19 submitting applications during the free application days yielded at the 25.2%, and then excluding the Apply Free Days apps was about 35%, and then the overall yield 34%. The students aged 20 to 24 or we'll just go with a 20+ age ranges. This shows we're reaching some adult populations. So students age 20 to 24, maybe transfer students could have taken a gap year a few years before returning to college. But what we see here is that students age 20 to 24 yielded at a higher rate than any other age group. They're also yielding higher at the 25+ age range as well. Next slide. So here we have the first generation students beginning there on the left. You see first generation, non-first generation for comparison, but students who identified as first generation yielded at a higher rate at 32.8% compared to their non-first generation peers who applied during that apply free days window, which was at 29.6%. Next slide. Next, we'll see the yield by population, which helps us understand how the free application days are reaching underserved populations. For the Black or African American population, yielded at 23.2% during those free application days. This is about 9 percentage points lower than applications submitted outside of the free application window. The Hispanic population yielded at 29.9%, which is roughly 9 percentage points lower than those submissions outside of the free application window. Then the white population yielded at 32.3% during the free application days compared to 43% outside of that 3-day window. That's a difference of 10.7%. Next slide. To help us better understand the free application days, one question we came back to was whether the free application days was reaching students who were not originally planning to apply to college. With that, I conducted dissertation research, including urban, suburban, rural Kansas high schools. Included within the study, I interviewed school counseling staff and surveyed seniors. A few items I still want to continue highlighting here. Across all school contexts, counselors reported that students who had no prior intention of applying to college did submit applications during that 3-day window. And student survey results confirmed this. 10% of the respondents indicated that they had no initial intention of applying to college prior to the campaign, and every one of those students had submitted at least one application during that 3-day window. Counselors also described that the 3-day window was providing clear guardrails and boundaries, framing the application initiative as low risk. Applying alongside their peers and counselors and staff available for support. This created momentum and increased the student confidence. Schools described building a building-wide buzz. It created momentum, normalized when applications are to be submitted, and encouraged students who previously did not see college as an option to take that first step. They also counselors emphasized that a clearly defined time frame creates visibility, consistency, and a healthy sense of urgency. So these dates establish a shared statewide timeline for when applications should be completed. And then finally, those counselors who participated in the study consistently recommended extending the free application days to 1 week within that same month, noting that a longer window would allow them to reach more students, particularly in the larger high schools, while preserving that urgency of the time frame and also the momentum that the campaign allows. Next slide. Resources and reports can be found on the kansasregents.gov website. Go to the student tab and then apply free days. A plethora of resources located on there. Next slide. So here we have the staff recommendation for the final year of the pilot phase for the Kansas free application days. These recommendations are informed, again, by the data presented within this report and then the November. So first, staff recommended extending the Kansas free application days from 3 days to 5 days, running Monday through Friday in October. October has been a long-standing recognized college application month in Kansas. Moving to 5 days would provide larger schools adequate time to support students while maintaining that consistency. Public institutions have universities have agreed to increase marketing and outreach efforts for those October dates. And it's also recommended to sustain the Apply Kansas and All-Star High School initiatives, as these structures are strengthening the school accountability and staff at those high schools' understanding of the college going process, while reinforcing consistent post-secondary timelines. And this data and recommendations were presented for feedback and support through our constituent groups, such as the Apply Free Days group, which is made up of the four-year public institutions admissions directors. We do have a SAC representative on there, and then the CACRO leadership, Kansas Independent Colleges leadership, and the Apply Kansas Steering Committee, which is made up of two-year admissions representatives and school counselors from across the state. With that, I will stand for questions.
This is Pamela Amar. I had a question, and I need for you to go back to the slide if you can, Misty, where you showed the universities and how I think it was KU and K-State. They don't ask that first year you can ask for a waiver and it's granted. I'm sorry, I didn't catch the number you were on. Oh, here, maybe I can.
Madeline, can you?
Oh, yeah, there. Okay, good. Okay. Oh, I thought it was both was first year applicants. Okay, well, maybe this is, nope, you're good. Go back. Oh, you were there. Sorry. No, stop. I think this is it. This is it. This is the one. Thank you. Okay, so maybe this is just for Provost Bicklemeyer, but also maybe Provost oh, Jesse, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on your last name. I apologize. It's just gone. But it looks like for KU, the first year. So when you say first year, would that apply like your first year you are applying or when you are a freshman? Reason for my question is if you are, let's say the 20-something and you've been in a community college and you want to apply to KU, would that be considered their first year and you would waive the fee?
Actually, we automatically waive fees for transfer students.
Okay.
And I have Lisa Pinamonti-Kress, who is our Director of Admissions here, saying thumbs up. I got that right.
Oh, okay, good.
So transfer students automatically waive first year students, applicants. Again, there's an easy waiver request, no documentation required. Some of that has to do with the processing, particularly for out-of-state students, and the work that's involved behind that, and just the load. Because I will admit or say I appreciate and understand the board's focus here and what they are trying to do in terms of growing applications to colleges and doing it in a concerted way. There's a couple of challenges just generally on this. And again, I'm just sharing those. We've been happy to support the 3 days, 5 days just extends it. Having a concentrated period in the year, while I think it's really good for high schools, also puts massive strain on our staff in those areas to work those processes because we need to give a quick turnaround. It also just increases the number of people who are filling out multiple applications, who really kind of aren't necessarily intending to go to the University of Kansas. So we see a big volume. That's where you see that drop from the usual about, I think it was 50% or so in terms of yield compared to the 36.5% that was on that slide. So we do a lot of work in a concerted amount of time. It's a heavy paper load for staff, and we don't quite see the same yield. On these fees, generally we're charging fees again, primarily as we deal with out-of-state students and some of the load that's there, but anybody can easily get a waiver just by clicking a box. So Lisa, did I represent well? Okay, thank you. I hope that's helpful.
I thank you, and I appreciate the explanation. I also wonder, just as a general rule for everybody, Is it easy to find out, like each university, for example, like KU, there's no documentation is required, or if you're a transfer student. So can you find that if you're just looking at, let's say you're outside of the 3 or 5 day, whatever it is? Is it easy to find when you're trying to apply that you can, there is a fee waiver?
Lisa, do you want to talk about where that is on the website? Thank you.
Sure, thank you. It is on the website, and then on the KU application, there is a prompt. So there's an opportunity to actually request when you are applying, if you do need a fee waiver, you can actually give a prompt of why that is. It's a small box. And then it just is a small delay. So when you submit that, because you haven't paid the fee, our staff review that. And as it mentions here, there's no documentation and we approve all requests.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I feel it's very simple because it's available on the website, and then there's that prompt on the application itself.
All right. Thank you. And I didn't
Thank
hear
you.
from anybody else, so I'm guessing Fort Hays State, K-State, WSU, the same is true. It's easily found on your website if you need to have a waiver.
Yes, this is Margaret Moore Schroeder from K-State. Yes,
Thank you.
very similar process to what KU said. Much of it is automated, and yes, it's a
Okay.
checkbox, and then they indicate the area, and then it's an automatic thing for us.
All right. Thank you.
I just want to elevate, we do have on the Apply Free Days page, and this is also sent out to our high schools as well. There's a 2025 Apply Free Days application instructions, which covers all of our public institutions and private institutions, any information they should know for the Apply Free Days. So we used to have waiver codes. Now those typically are no longer, but those are sent out to extent to our high school partners.
Thank you. And just to be clear, what I'm interested in is making sure if they're not in this 3 or 5 day that these students at least have it's easy to check it out at different universities if they need a waiver or something like that. That's what I'm trying to understand. Does that make sense, Misty? What I was mainly because you were just going to, hey, we do this 3 days or 5 days. I was just looking to make sure if you were not in that time frame, if it were easy to do. It sounds
As a
like
former school counselor, I will say yes.
Okay. Thank you. Those are my questions. I appreciate it.
And this is Barb Bickelmeyer. If I might add to that, and I really appreciate that question, Regent Amar. It is in our interest. I want to make sure I'm speaking for us. That we make it as easy as possible for students to get here. I think the days of if there ever were days where the universities were more gatekeeping than groundkeeping or accessible, those days have long passed us here. So I would say we actually try to make that as predominant so that's as easy as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Regent Amar and everybody. Do we have other questions concerning the Apply Free Days? And the fact that go ahead.
This is Regent Mendoza. I don't have any questions. I just wanted to thank Misty for her continued support and work on this initiative. It's a tremendous opportunity for students and removes one of those barriers that may be there for some. So thank you for your continued work.
Thank you, Regent Mendoza. I do have one quick question. I was curious, when students apply, if they're accepted, then are they assigned a student email? And if that's the case, can that be problematic? I remember that being somewhat of an issue sometimes in terms of we were having some issues with students applying just to get that student email. And I'm curious if that's really an issue or if that's just something I've got in my head.
Lisa, may I ask you?
Yes, please.
Is that for KU?
Yes. Go ahead, Provost Bickelmeyer.
Thank you. I'm passing it over to Lisa Kress, our Director of Admissions.
Sure, thank you. There is no issue that we are aware of. It's not, they create a KU email at the time of admit, but not all students do it. And so you have to be admitted, and then to complete next steps, such as registering for orientation and other things, housing, normal next steps at the admit phase, you do have to set up your online ID, which includes your ku.edu email. Most students do not check that email until they're enrolled and actually attend orientation. It's not an expectation. There's no emails being sent to that ku.edu email until they're actually enrolled in classes. But they can do it soon after they are admitted, but majority of our students do not. Out of all the students that are admitted, majority of students do not do that step until later in the cycle.
Okay, thank you. Sounds like I was just curious. I was remembering that we had where I was had some problems where we had no application fee with, we would just get these thousands and thousands of applications, and we thought possibly it was just to attain that student email, but I see exactly what you're saying, and so that makes sense to me. So I appreciate that. And
No
thank
problem.
you to everybody for working on this. My understanding is this is the last year of the pilot, and so the next year we'll have another year of data, and we will, as a board, then determine whether we make this permanent. Would that be correct?
Yes, that is correct. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate the information. With that, I would if there is no more discussion, I would entertain a motion to approve the Act on Apply Free Days AY 2027 and then move it to the board discussion agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passed. Thank you. All right, next up is the request to approve the proposed amendments to the spoken English.
Alicia?
Yes, I'm sorry,
No,
Rusty.
this is Rusty. I wanted to just make sure everyone's clear that we're not voting to transition this to from a pilot to a permanent program, but rather the recommendation, the approval was for the dates for the 2026 Apply Free Days.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. Yes, this is just to approve to go from 3 days to a week. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. I appreciate that, VP Monholland. All right, so request to approve the proposed amendments to the spoken English language policy. Director Christy Dangermond.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair Johnston. So this item begins on page 25 of your agendas. I'm going to ask Madeline to please share page 26. That's where the actual changes are contained. So KBOR policy indicates that any prospective faculty or graduate teaching assistant whose native language is not English must have their spoken English competency assessed prior to employment. If the prospective employee is found to be potentially deficient in speaking ability through this assessment, that prospective employee must meet one of 4 criteria to be eligible for an appointment without spoken English language remediation conditions. One of those criteria is a minimum score of 22 on the speaking section of the TOEFL IBT test. So a few months ago, KU folks brought to our attention changes to that TOEFL IBT exam that went into effect just earlier this month. Those changes include a revised scoring range. So while the old range of scores was 1 through 30, the new range is going to be quite different. It's 1 through 6. KU's Associate Vice Provost for International Affairs, Roberta Pokepon, and Applied English Center Director Pam Pearson researched the new test and the scoring range, and they recommended the new score of 4.5, which they indicate is roughly equivalent to a 23 on the older version of the test. Further, since these scores are good for 2 years from the date of the test, the updates to the policy will allow for maintaining that old score for those students who took, or those folks who took the exam prior to January 21, to prevent students from having to take the new version of the test if they've already taken the old version. The other state universities are in agreement with these policy updates, and the Council of Chief Academic Officers approved these changes at the January 14 meeting. Board staff concur with the Council of Chief Academic Officers in recommending approval of these policy revisions. And just really quick, I would like to take a second to thank Drs. Pokepon and Pearson for all of their work and research on this, because we really have to rely on the content experts for things like this.
Okay, thank you, Director Christy Dangermond. Do we have any questions regarding this?
Regent Johnston, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead, Regent
So,
Mendoza.
Sam, I know that this is not the part that is up to be changed, but when it talks about to be eligible for an appointment without spoken English language remediation conditions, can you talk to what those remediation conditions look like or what exactly that means on that part there?
You know, just earlier today, I was worried that somebody might ask that. I will have to defer
Sorry.
to, no, that's a very good question. I would have to defer to our KU folks if Dr. Pokepon is still on, if that's okay with Provost Bicklemeyer, someone from KU to comment on that.
And I do believe that Roberta should be here to address.
Yes. I'm happy to comment on that. For our graduate teaching assistants, if a graduate student arrives at KU and does not meet these qualifications, they are able to take courses through our Applied English Center until they have gotten to a point where they then are able to pass one of these tests. And at that point, they're probably going to take an institutional speak test. I would imagine it is similar at the other institutions. I believe in the past collective memory, so I'm guessing this is probably about 20 years, we've only had at KU one faculty member who did not meet the test score. And that faculty member also was advised to take English courses, but did not stay at KU for very long. And so did not complete those requirements before departure. So it's not very common that this comes up with faculty because there's only one in the collective memory. And this isn't my memory. This would be the memory of a previous Applied English Center director who is now retired. So that gives you an idea of the scope of that time frame. But for the students, the graduate teaching assistants, they would take English coursework and meet this requirement before they were allowed to teach.
Okay, so you mentioned that was in that one situation, that was a faculty member that had to take those courses. So, and then you said that, I believe you said they had to pass those in order to teach. So would they be on staff while they're taking those courses?
So I was not in my role when the faculty member was here, so I don't know how that was handled in terms of coursework for that individual. But for the graduate teaching assistants, they're not allowed to hold that role. They could be a graduate research assistant working in a lab, but they would not be able to be a graduate teaching assistant until they had met that requirement of a passing test score.
Okay, thank you. That was my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Regent Mendoza. Just one quick question that I have. So are these pretty similar to the TOEFL scores we require students to have to be admitted? Or are they more stringent?
I believe they're a little bit more stringent because we do have students who are admitted as fully proficient who might not meet the speaking score. It's the singling out of the speaking score. So for admission, a student at most institutions is going to have a required total score. And then I know for KU, we also have requirements for the part scores, just because we want to ensure that students have met that. Now, for our institution, we have one set of scores for being fully proficient, and then a second set of scores where they would have to be tested when they arrive and presumably take English coursework as a student. So does that help? Does that answer your question?
It does. I was curious about, I think, yes, you clarified it for me because I know we have a lot of students that come in with TOEFL scores, and sometimes, that's a big concern, of course, for international students is making sure that they can meet the requirement of those TOEFL scores. But the speaking part of it makes sense when you say break that out. So I appreciate that. Any other questions? All right, if none, then I would also entertain a motion to request to approve the proposed amendments to the spoken English language policy.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
An aye for me, so motion passed. All right, a few other matters to come before BAS today. The reduced credit hour baccalaureate degree update. VP Monholland.
Yes, thank you. This should be a pretty brief update. The working group met again, I'm going to forget the exact date, but about 10 days or so ago, and picked up where we had left off from our previous meeting. What we began working on at this most recent gathering was, getting down to the details of creating a policy framework for offering reduced credit baccalaureate degrees. We made, I think, some progress in a number of areas. There was an agreement on, various aspects of the policy framework. What we've done since that meeting is I've taken those recommendations, based on the conversation, made some adjustments, made some revisions, added a language where appropriate based upon the discussion, and have a, I guess, semi-revised document. We haven't gotten through all of it yet, but we've gotten through at least some of it. I will hand that off to Dr. Bonzraki, and she and I have been talking, and she will take the reins and take this project moving forward.
Thank you, Dr. Monholland. Have we got any questions or discussion on their reduced baccalaureate degree? For my part, I just want to say thank you so much for working on that, VP Monholland. Thank you to you and the work group. This is, I know, a lot of work, and we don't have a lot of data or history on this because it is such a new thing. And so I think important to the state and certainly to all of our colleges and universities. And so I greatly appreciate the work you're doing on this. I apologize for missing the last meeting after blowing Rusty up. Then I turned around and forgot about the meeting. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. All right. We have one last thing on the agenda, and that is the academic affairs update with Dr. Bonzraki.
Thank you so much, Regent Johnston. So this is a bittersweet moment. I just wanted to take a moment on behalf of the academic affairs staff and the CAOs to thank VP Monholland for his service, not only to KBOR over the past 2 years, but to higher education in general. We really appreciate everything you've done to advance higher education and help support students as they work towards that goal. So thank you so much, Rusty.
Well, thank you, Jen. That's very kind. Thanks. And thanks to all of you. It's been a pleasure working with you these past couple of years, and it's given me a lot of satisfaction coming back home and working for the agency that oversees both of my alma maters. So this is a nice way, very gratifying way to wind up my career. So thanks to all of you. I hope we'll continue to run into each other or stay in touch. I'm not going to the old folks home just quite yet, but going to take it easy for a while. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you, VP Monholland. That's great. Have I got anybody else like to speak up? Regents?
Well, this is Pamela Amar. I wanted to thank you because being new to this, you were always very willing to answer questions and even try and help me out with something not really in your bailiwick, and that was Zoom and computers. So I really have appreciated the opportunity to work with you and get to know you. Thank you.
This is Regent Mendoza. Dr. Monhal and I would just echo the remarks of my colleagues here. Thank you so much for your dedication to our students and our system, and happy retirement. Enjoy.
Thank you. Thank you both, Regent Mendoza and Regent Amar. It's been a pleasure working with you and you, Regent Johnston, as well.
Thank you. I can say that it's been absolutely wonderful working with you. I've learned a great deal from you and continue to learn from you. Appreciate always your advocating for the entire system, for students, for the colleges, for the universities, and for excellence in our academics. Your knowledge of what goes on, not just here in the state, but really around the United States, and knowing, sort of what direction we need to go, best practices, and pathways that we should be taking a look at. Your knowledge of that across the state, and like I said, across the United States, is really remarkable and greatly appreciated, and it's becoming very, very handy for us. And so I appreciate it. On a personal note, I really have enjoyed working with you, and thank you for putting up with me and all my when I kind of have a come apart about when a meeting is. So thank you. I really, really appreciate it. So,
well, you tested the boundaries of my patience, but I was able to.
I get that a lot. So our next BAS meeting is February the 11th. Happy retirement, Rusty. And it was good to see all of you today. And we'll see you hopefully again on the 11th. Except for you, Rusty, you'll be on a beach somewhere.
Yeah. Yes. Bye, everyone. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye. I guess we do need adjournment. They always tell me we need to adjournment. So do I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.